today? My name is Matt, and on this show, we dollar cost average $1,000 a day into my favorite crypto. Now, if there's a crypto that you like, comment below. I know there's nobody watching, but it doesn't matter. Comment below, subscribe, like this video, and I might dollar cost average into yours. Now, we've been pausing on the dollar cost averaging because my wallet has been having issues. So weirdly, the DCAs I've been doing up until this point, I think it's been about 14 transactions I can't access because it's not reflecting in my Ledger account. So I'm in contacts with Ledger to sort this thing out. So I'm going to pause a little bit as I wait for these things to sort out before I DCA or continue my DCAs. Well, let's get right into it. We have nothing to talk about via the charts. As you can see, I'm still holding this line. I think we're going to hold there and we're not going to do much. Another thing that's interesting is 40K is probably going to be a point, and it looks in the buy order section, there seems to be a lot of orders around here. So it's likely that we touch or get close to it and we get rejected. Maybe like one of these wicks, that we see. So either we hit this line or in the next several days we hit this. I'm pretty excited because it's actually just a few days away. It's tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, maybe the day after that, and possibly the day after that. I doubt we're going up to here, right? If we're going up to there, I would actually be it would be quite interesting if we went that far out. But what I suspect is we're going to see a wick that touches one of these lines, either the 40 or this line, and we're going to come back down. I suspect it's this horizontal line, I mean this sloping line, and we're going to come down just like how it's happened the last couple times. And I suspect, my suspicion of course, is that we're going to come down to about 30K. Right, I think it's going to be a big bar. We have no idea. I have no idea. And of course, I'm completely, I'm going to try to pull up a chart that I had the day before yesterday, but I won't be able to pull it up. Because I know we have these, we have goals here. We have a $30,000 spot where we think things might happen. And the reason 30,000 might be the number is we have a lot of buy orders here below. And so AKA support right around 30K. We have 25K, which I'd like to get to. I wouldn't mind seeing a 25K, though there's nothing really interesting at 25K, right? I mean, like literally nothing. That 20K is a lot more interesting. That was our previous high back in 2018. That was our last big spot, and we have a little bit of confluence here as well. So these are the spots where I think we're going to go if shit hits the fan. Now also, if you go down to 20K, you see that the 200-week moving average is there. And this is man, and I've said this before, if we get down to the 200-week moving average, or if we get to 20K, if we get between 25 and 20K, I am throwing my entire bag in, right? My entire bag, my life savings will go into crypto, right at that point. Forget dollar cost averaging at that point. I don't care anymore, right? But up until that point, we will dollar cost average in because we are not absolute degenerates, just mildly degenerate. Yes, so not much happening here. It's a Sunday, it's rainy. You know, it's just a rainy Sunday day. Ain't nothing happening. Let me tell you about this, though. PayPal may introduce a stablecoin. Now, this was found in the source code of the iPhone app by some hacker. No, I'm just not kidding. It's not a hacker, obviously. It was found in the source code. And what they saw was that they possibly want to put a stablecoin in place. What PayPal said via press release was that this was actually part of a hackathon, and it ended up in the source code of the iPhone accidentally. Sure, PayPal. Sure, you had an internal hackathon and it accidentally ended up in an update for the iPhone. I'm certain that's a big accident. The draw for a company like a PayPal to introduce a stablecoin is wild, right? It's like the usability of a stablecoin versus conventional transactions would be, it's so much more convenient. Right, you have everything's running on the blockchain, especially if you have your own blockchain. You can optimize for what you're looking for. You don't have all this regulatory stuff, though PayPal did claim that if they were going to pursue this, which they likely are, which I suspect they are already, they're going to go through the regulatory loop. I was gonna say loopholes, but that's not the right word. More like the word's not coming to mind, but the regulatory loops, right? You have to jump through their hoops. That's the word I was looking for. Biden will hold the hoops, and then they'll just jump through them one at a time and kind of be like, did I do well? Did I do well? Yes. Biden will be like, yes, you did. So on and so forth. Which is what I'm going to get to next. And this is going to be a short video because there isn't much to talk about. Biden's regulation of crypto. Now, he sees this as a threat, and I don't know if Hillary is a part of his administration, but I know those on the left. And look, I'm pretty bipartisan. Like I don't adore the left. I don't adore the right. But those on the left are very concerned about safety and whatnot. It's if you go really far back, this is a little bit of a history lesson. In fact, there's a YouTuber that produces these amazing videos on Western ideas that are prominent in the West and not so prominent in the East, and prominent in the East and not so prominent in the West, and so on and so forth. And the concept of safety, which is so predominant here in the West. I can't speak. I wish I could drink more kombucha, but I finished this entire thing in one day. Can you believe I finished this entire thing in one day? The amount of sugar, it's 20 grams for 480 milliliters. So, wow, I drank 60 grams of sugar that day. That's wild. Well, here come diabetes. The It's a Protestant belief that it was like way back in the 1600s, 17, 1800s. I don't remember the dates, but it was a Protestant belief that we adopted, and it's just gone through the entire that safety is the single most important thing, and we don't have that in the East so much, right? I wasn't born in the East, but I definitely associate with it, and we just don't have that concept of safety. So, and you see it all the time, right? You see like 8 people on a motorcycle; it's no big deal. But just interesting. I mean, it's a little piece of history there. And so, what does this mean? Bitcoin regulation and the threat of higher taxes for crypto. Biden wants to regulate crypto. And you may think of this as a bad thing, but I would say it's a very good thing. The reason it's a good thing, and before I jump ahead, what does regulation mean? That means sorting through all the transactions, right? Hiring a lot of compliance people and lawyers and all, really figuring out where the activity's happening. Is there any, well, where is the illegal activity happening? Those kind of questions. And then beginning the roadmap towards regulation and legalization, and then of course taxation. And this is an inevitability. Obviously, we've seen this happen. We've seen this coming down the pipeline for the last 5 years at least. Because when something goes from like zero to, I think the market cap of crypto is like $3 trillion. Cap of crypto 2021. I think there's no way. Yeah, it's 2.3 as of December 17th, so it's probably a little lower now. Oh, it's 1.5 trillion. Okay, so let's just say it's 1 trillion. When you go from 0 to $1 trillion in value, at least for the Americans, you're certainly not getting rid of it. It'd be a big call. It'd be a tough call to regulate that stuff out. But another thing that's interesting is all of this stuff, whether you're on the left or the right, is politics, right? It's all trash, basically. Like if you wrap your prefrontal cortex around this stuff too much, you'll find that you're being duped left, right, and center. And what's interesting about this statement is just a few days prior, I think it was a day or two, Putin, Biden's sworn enemy, right? It's hilarious. They're dynamic. Said he's going to regulate crypto. So of course Biden needs to come out the next day with, we're regulating crypto. Like it's just comical. It's the cat and mouse game. And now he says it's I know in one of these articles, he's also claimed that it is a national security thing, right? And maybe understandable, but you definitely have to read between the lines, because these people are never speaking clearly, right? There's a secondary, tertiary motive behind everything, because it's straight politics, right? What he says today will be used against him next week, a year from now, 2024, when he's running against Trump. So it's just like, it's all bonkers. I mean, this is of course not to defend Trump in any way or form. That I mean, all of these people are absolutely whack in their own specific and unique ways. Though they are human, and like we all have friends and family, and we all know how they operate, and we can just look at ourselves and see how ridiculous we are, right? If I just think about myself quietly in my room and look in the mirror, the proverbial mirror that looks at my psyche, I can tell how absolutely whack I am and how everything outside is really a reflection of my whackness inside, right? It's absolutely bonkers. We're getting a little philosophical here for a crypto podcast talk YouTube video. But these are the two things that I found interesting in the news today. I didn't find very much else interesting. China pilots nationwide blockchain development over real world use cases. This is great, and this is why China is going to lead for sure, right? It's pretty clear to me. The West has seen its peak. We're phenomenally lazy out here. Like we're not hardcore workers like we used to be. And yes, you can expect the interest rates to come down again because we don't have the pump and the pep that we once did, right? The 1950s are over. We are in the decade of let me show you. Have you heard this thing? Strong men, weak times, whatever it is. There's a great picture. Now this is amazing, and I think you can tell me what hard times create strong men, right? World War II. Strong men create great times, right? So this is like the 50s. Good times create weak men. We got the 80s, 90s, and weak men create hard times. This is where we are. We're in the 2000s and whatnot, right? And so, yeah, okay, this is as we are here. So this is where we are. So I expect a lot of whack shit to happen. Like we're essentially tearing ourselves apart. Social media isn't helping, especially when it's so porous. Like countries like Russia can get in there and kind of finagle a bunch of people that are easily duped by straight headlines, right? Especially on Facebook. Like if you can find an inflammatory headline that gets you emotional one direction or another, well, there you go. You have something to almost how a pearl is born, right? It's one piece of sediment, and that sediment you put layers and layers upon, and eventually you have a pearl. But this pearl could be a corrosive pearl that once settled into a society starts breaking apart or becomes a node that's corrupted, right? Anyways, we're getting way more philosophical than we normally do here. Thank you for listening, and if you like this content, like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. And I will see you tomorrow.